Platinum is a very heavy, silver-white metal and element number 78 on the periodic table. It is one of the least reactive metals, meaning it is very resistant to corrosion and chemical attack. Platinum is also considered a precious metal due to its rarity, being several times more rare than even gold. However, since 2015, pure platinum has been less expensive than pure gold. Objectively, platinum should still be more desirable due to its rarity. However, despite its apparent value on paper, platinum still ends up falling short compared to gold. Pokemon Platinum is essentially the director's cut of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, with a slightly altered storyline and an expanded roster of Pokemon, alongside some other changes. However, I'm not here to talk about Platinum itself. I'm actually here to talk about Pokemon Renegade Platinum, which is a ROM hack of Pokemon Platinum that adds a bunch of additional features onto the original Platinum game, such as the ability to catch all 493 Pokemon from Gens 1 through 4 without needing to trade, an overall increase in the difficulty level of the game alongside additional boss fights throughout, and adjustments to existing Pokemon, such as base stat and typing changes. Overall, I would say these changes are all improvements over the original Platinum, which I already liked. What's interesting here though is that despite these improvements, I didn't really enjoy Renegade Platinum as much as I thought I would. Here I want to discuss why that is, since 1, I love hearing myself talk, and 2, I think it'll give some insight into the often poorly described and contradictory nature of what makes a game good. The first, and probably the most notable change that Renegade Platinum makes, is the ability to catch all 493 Pokemon from Gens 1 through 4, that is, from Bulbasaur to Arceus, on one single cartridge without needing to trade. For the record, I didn't go out of my way to catch every single Pokemon that I could have, but if I encountered a new Pokemon on a route, I tried to catch it if I was able to. However, I obviously still could only use 6 Pokemon in my team at any given time, and I would say that I only used about 10 to 15 different Pokemon in total throughout my entire playthrough. I think that's a pretty typical number if you are doing a casual playthrough like I did. By casual playthrough, I mean you are not doing a challenge run such as a Nuzlocke. Out of the 6 Pokemon that I didn't end up using on my main team, about 4 were Pokemon that I would not normally be able to use in the original Platinum. I did genuinely appreciate being able to use stuff like Metagross, which I normally would not have access to until I had already beaten the game. However, the Pokemon that I did not end up using on my team, which is the vast majority of Pokemon that I encountered throughout the game, they might as well not have existed. And to explain what I mean by that, here's a little clip of me catching Spiritomb, who apparently thinks killing itself repeatedly is cool and hip. Once it's caught though, the Spiritomb literally does not affect my gameplay experience in any way, since I will never even take it out of the box. In reality, very few people will actually appreciate the full extent of this change, including all 493 Pokemon. On the other hand though, basically everybody will benefit at least a little bit, since there's almost guaranteed to be at least one new Pokemon that they will want to try out. For this reason, I consider this change a big positive and one of the greatest strengths that the game has to offer. However, I just want to reiterate, there is a big difference between the expectation of being able to catch every single Pokemon and the reality, which is that you will only be able to train and use 6 at a time. Alright, now on to probably the second largest change in this hack, which is the difficulty increase. Again, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of a casual playthrough, so if you are not doing a casual playthrough, your mileage may vary. I also can't speak on the difficulty of particular fights, since my personal experience is mostly based on whether the opponent can hit Steel-type super effectively or not. Overall though, I would say the difficulty increase is noticeable over the original game, but definitely still manageable if you know what you're doing. The main issue here is not how hard the game is overall, but rather where that difficulty comes from. I think the AI has been improved slightly over the original Platinum game, but it is still extremely stupid and predictable. Even the fact that it rarely switches, that alone is extremely abusable if you have a Pokemon that can boost its own stats. All this means is that the difficulty in the game has to come from other places, such as the AI Pokemon having perfect EVs and natures. Overall, in terms of absolute difficulty, this ends up okay, but you never really feel the excitement that you would if you were in a truly close, evenly matched fight. I would compare the difficulty in this game to fist fighting a toddler holding a handgun. Yes, technically there are decent odds that either side could win, but even if you do end up winning, is there any real satisfaction in your victory? Similarly, is there any satisfaction in beating an AI that barely functions? I will say though, that both the increased number of boss fights and the increased diversity of Pokemon rosters in the game provide a good showcase for the numerous tweaks and buffs to individual Pokemon. So as a result, I think they did a really good job of highlighting the different build paths that opened up for various Pokemon, and how these builds could conceivably succeed on any given playthrough. Speaking of buffs, the developer advertises the buffs made as a balance patch of sorts, with weaker Pokemon receiving more buffs to make them more viable. This is not really true, it's more like they just buffed Pokemon based on what they thought was cool, which is perfectly valid, and honestly, the Giga Chad move. But if that is truly the case, then they should not advertise it as a balance patch. To show you what I mean, I'm going to give you a couple examples. First, let's talk about Carnivine. Now, in the base Platinum game, Carnivine is truly dog shit. It is worse than Pokemon like Meganium, which is itself an extremely mediocre Pokemon. To compensate, in Renegade Platinum, Carnivine received plus 10 additional attack and special attack. To be thorough, I'll say that they took away 10 speed, which doesn't matter since Carnivine is already extremely slow. And they give it Dark Pulse, which is not the greatest coverage move, but it's okay. Spoiler alert, Carnivine is still terrible even with these buffs, especially since almost everything else got buffed as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about a fan favorite, Garchomp. Now in Gen 4, if you didn't know, Garchomp is actually Uber on Smogon, which means it's considered to be on the same power level as legendary Pokemon such as Dialga, Kyogre, and Mewtwo. In fact, it's actually considered better than some of these legendaries, like Ho-Oh and Lugia, which themselves are not bad at all, even against other legendary Pokemon. It just goes to show how crazy good Garchomp is. This hack gave Garchomp Extreme Speed, the best priority move in the game. Now, for reference, Swords Dance Extreme Speed Lucario was already amazing in Gen 4, even against legendary Pokemon. Swords Dance Extreme Speed Garchomp would be stronger, faster, and tankier than Lucario. I won't pretend to know anything about the exact viability of every single Pokemon in this hack, but it's safe to say that Garchomp and Carnivine are not even remotely on the same power level. In fact, you could say that Garchomp got buffed more than Carnivine, despite being significantly better to begin with. Honestly, even if the game isn't balanced, it's fine, because in a casual playthrough, you're going to use whatever Pokemon you want to, regardless of how strong it is. But this ends up leading us to an even more damaging conclusion, which is that all of the extensive changes made to basically every single Pokemon in the game do very little to improve the actual enjoyability of the game itself. In other words, it doesn't matter whether Carnivine has 100 attack or 110 attack, since the personal enjoyment that you derive from using it, or I guess you could say the lack thereof since you are using Carnivine, is more or less unchanged. Your overall fun that you have is exactly the same. This ends up being the main issue with Renegade Platinum as a whole, which is that most of the changes that it makes do not actually make the game more fun. Charizard is now Fire Dragon instead of Fire Flying. That's cool, I guess, but I really do not give a shit on some nerd-ass fanboys' opinions on whether it should be Dragon type or not, since Pokemon types are completely arbitrary to begin with, unless it's an accepted fact that Bug is a fundamental element in nature alongside things like fire and water. Fairy types are in the game? That's nice. I liked Gardevoir as a Psychic type, and I like it exactly the same amount as a Psychic and Fairy type. And, of course, weirdos on the internet are still going to make creepy fan art of it either way, no matter what its type is. Yes, there's some slight storyline changes. I really do not play Pokemon games for the story, bro. I don't know about you. Frankly, I think that the new dialogue added is noticeably worse than the existing Platinum dialogue, but that's neither here nor there. By all quantifiable metrics, Renegade Platinum should be a significant improvement over the original Platinum game. But I can't say that I enjoyed it significantly more. In fact, I would say Renegade Platinum was actually less fun for me than another Pokemon game I played, Pokemon Sword. The difference here is that even though all the changes made in Pokemon Sword, they're not perfect, but a lot of them actually increased my enjoyment of the game. One example is the addition of the far-fetched evolution Surfetched. Every time I saw this fucker get big in one of the gym battles, instant shot of dopamine to the brain. This guy's fucking hilarious. And to see him one-shot everything in front of him is the most ridiculous thing ever, and it's amazing. Also, I got to play fetch with my Pokemon. Little did I realize that training my starter monkey to catch a ball would later cause it to cheat death. But honestly, that is just so ridiculous in and of itself that you can't even be mad about it. Best thing of all, no random encounters. This is by far the worst thing about the old Pokemon games, Renegade Platinum included. The fact that Sword and Shield got rid of them instantly trims at least 60% of the fat off the game. The best part is that if there happens to be a Pokemon that I actually want to catch, I can just walk up to it and catch it. There's no wasting time hoping that I encounter the right Pokemon. The crazy thing is, I think Renegade Platinum is still the objectively better game. It's got more engaging trainer battles, a much higher selection of Pokemon, and arguably better graphics alongside better polish overall. And yet, I like Pokemon Sword more. Pokemon Renegade Platinum is a technically proficient game that ultimately ends up feeling a little soulless. It adds a lot of additional features, but most of them will only appeal to people who use the word content 100% unironically. By that, I mean people who will judge the quality of a game by the amount of stuff to do, rather than how it makes you feel. Under this lens, all forms of entertainment, regardless of things like context, medium, or even emotional impact, are treated as content, that is, as one homogeneous entity whose only purpose is to be endlessly regurgitated and consumed. It's the media equivalent of saying, who cares what a burger tastes like when it's more efficient and nutritious to replace all your meals with Soylent? The enjoyment that one gets from something like a video game is not something that you can reduce to just an ingredients list or a bunch of statistics. Sometimes the answer is as simple as platinum doesn't look as good as gold. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Shoutouts to the Renegade Platinum creator. I know I clowned on their game pretty hard, but if you think that in any way I'm diminishing the effort and creativity that is needed to make any game, especially as a solo developer, then go fuck yourself. I also went pretty hard on gamer nerds towards the end of this video. If you are a gamer nerd, please ignore everything I said here and watch my other videos. I really cannot afford to offend anybody since I need all the viewers that I can get. I tried to do something different with this video compared to my last two videos. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch you next time. Until then, peace.